What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage. Hope everyone's having a fabulous day today. Today, I'm going to be showing you what I consider a budget 8 standby Nino deck. I've been working on this for a good bit, but it took me a bit to be able to test play some stuff as well. But I have this deck in real life, and I have most definitely test played this a good chunk. But I've made my own little twist on this. One of the main meta versions runs Ichika as a little engine in there for your level 2s and whatnot to have cards to discard, but for the character encore and whatnot. But I decided to not worry about that and go just mono Nino for the entire thing. Also, at the time of recording this, the ban list update included this level 0 right here and the event that gives negative soul, and I wasn't running that to begin with. So the ban list didn't affect me at all. We honestly thought this level 3 was going to get hit, but I'm glad it didn't, and since I saw that it didn't, I was like, fuck it, we're going to record. So, let's get right into it. It is a red and blue build, and it is 8 standby. Just fun shit for anybody who hasn't seen this already. This is my take on it. Let's go for it. To start off with is the Pure Wish Nino is a 3/2/9/5. During your turn, if all of your characters have Nino in its name, which the entire deck is, so we're all good, this gets 4k power, so it's a 13/5, which a lot of cards in here just get big, for no reason. During your turn, when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you can pay 1 stock if you do deal 1 damage to your opponent. This is a neat little one to stand by in. If you somehow aren't able to exactly kill your opponent, but you still survive 1 more turn and you stand by these in the back row or something. This is really cool just to have a little bit extra burn. The main level 3 combo still does some burn damage as well, but this is just neat to have a little bit extra. So 2 copies of it. 4 copies of the reason this deck is so crazy. Love taking off Nino. This has several effects. It's a 3/2/85. If Straightforward Feelings, which is one of the standby, is in your climax area, this gets the standby trigger in all of your zones. Meaning if that standby is in play, one, you play the standby. That standby, you get to summon a character. You get to play a character to the stage. But then while that's in play, if you trigger this, you get to perform the standby effect again. So technically, you're running 12 standby climaxes in the deck, quote unquote, because this can count as a standby. During your turn, if you have 2 or more other Quintuplets characters, this gets 4k, making her a 12/5. When it's played on stage from hand, you can heal 1, always good. And at the end of this card's attack, you can pay 1, pitch 1 if you have the Straightforward Feelings in your climax area, and you have 2 or more other Quints, deal 3 damage to your opponent. Really nice. Honestly, I really like this burn effect. It's pretty cool. But obviously, the thing that makes her the craziest, and one of the reasons she's limited to 2 on the JP ban list currently. This is February of 2023 when I'm recording this, by the way. Just throwing that out there. Currently, this is still at 4 at the time of recording this. But it's understandable that this is one of the reasons this deck is kind of crazy. So 4 of that, obviously. So 2 copies of Intimate Sisters Nino. So 3/2. It is a assist. It is a 2k in front assist. So being able to stand by this and just make shit even bigger. When it's placed on stage from hand, you can draw 2 and pitch 1. During your climax phase or your attack phase, when your character becomes standing, which does come into play if you use the level 2 climax combo, this does come into play. Look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, put them on the top of your deck in any order, choose one of your characters, and that character gets 2k power until end of the turn. So if you end up doing this level 2 climax combo, it stands her. So you're able to do that and get this off and get a little bit extra buff and draw power. So that's when that's going to come into play, really. So just saying. Neat little thing. 2 copies of Someone Who Will Fall For You, Nino. If this card is in your center stage, all of your Quints characters get 1500 power. She's a 10k herself, so she increases herself as well, so 11/5. Because this is all of your, not all of your other. When you play when your climax with a standby and its trigger icon is placed, Look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, put them on top of your deck in any order. Choose one of your quints, and that character gets the same effect of on attack, look at the top 2. Or no, sorry. When this attacks, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose 1 card amongst them, put it on top of your deck, put the rest into your waiting room. You get to filter the top of your deck, which is really cool. So just a neat thing to like standby in if like you do it off of a trigger or something. You can purposely summon this over top of another character and just make whatever character is like currently attacking even bigger. So that is really cool. I like the like global 15 with its instant or stage effects. It's really nice, especially for most standby decks anyway. So 1 second. A lot of recording tonight, so throat's dry. Next is this In a Santa Suit Nino. It's a 3/2. Early play condition, -1 level from hand if you have 2 or less climaxes in your waiting room. If all of your characters are Nino, this gets 1500 power and character encore, so she becomes a 10/5. And when this is placed on stage from your hand, you can heal 1 from the to your waiting room. So you got several like healing options in this deck between this and the main one. So quite a few healing targets. The other climax combo is this level 2. Wholehearted Maiden Nino, run 4 of this. If all of your characters are quints, which the entire deck is all quints, it gets 2 abilities. One, 500. It gets 5,000 power during your turn, making her a 12k. And she has character encore. I say character encore. It's specifically quintuplets encore, but the entire deck is quints, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, entire like just crazy shit with it, just being able to character encore her. Then her climax combo, during your climax phase, when this is placed on stage by the effect of the Unstoppable Feelings climax, you can sack the climax to stand her and have her gain 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you can summon her with the standby at level 1 and just immediately turn, because of standby you have to summon it in rest, but this climax combo makes her just go ahead and automatically stand, and you just have a big ass fucking beat stick. So really good. So then we have the other level 2 is this Firm Resolve Nino. It's a 2500 backup, and when you use the backup, if you have a full field, you can pay 2 stock and choose one of your opponent's characters with a higher level than their level and put it into their waiting room. So anti-change. You just have to have a full field, but it's whatever. So the next thing is the level 1 lineup. People have put different ratios of this in their builds. I decided to do an even 3-3 split for, just for the sake of it. But both of these cards are really good. This one in particular can just net you so much advantage. So, Parting Words Nino is a 1/155. If you have 2 or more other quints, she gets 2k. So she's a 75 with character encore. Character encore is very prominent in this deck. So, this is just really good, really big, beefy standby target. This is the other standby target. If you have 2 or more other quints, this gets 2k power. So she's a 1/165. But her biggest thing, if the character facing this card is cost 0 or lower, this card cannot become reversed. Not only does it deny your opponent on reverse combos, it just makes it so she just doesn't die. You can straight like frontal attack cost 0s with this that are bigger than her, and she just does not die. So they have to purposely use something that is cost 1 or higher to kill her. And she's still, at that point, she's still a 65, and you got backups in this deck. You got, I got this one, which is a free 2k backup. I got 2 copies of it. So, I mean, I have multiple backups. It's like, she nets you so much advantage because she can't die against cost 0 or lower, which is just absolutely bonkers. It's really cool. So, very powerful, but I put a 3-3 split just because if my opponent is running 1/1s, I want to have the bigger ones that can get over those. So, and then obviously I showed this. This is the one that's on the choose 1 of 2 for the restricted list. Daily Routine Nino. On play, it has 2 on-play effects. The first one, you can pitch a Nino to draw a card. The second one, you can pitch a card to top check, and whatever level, reveal the top card of your deck, and whatever the level of that character you reveal is, you can salvage back a character with that level or less from your waiting room. So this I feel is a mandatory 4 of. This is just so good. Honestly, even if I was running the event, once the restricted list came out, I would have got rid of the event. The event is still very good, don't get me wrong, but I feel this is just so much better. you can set up all of your standby plays with this. So it's just, and draw cards, it's just salvage cards. It's really good. So really good filtering. I like it a lot. 2 copies of this. I feel every standby deck should have some card that has this particular second effect. But 2 copies of Frank Word's Nino. On play, you can return 2 Quints from your waiting room to your deck, and if you do, choose one of your Quints, and that character gets +1 soul until end of turn. You might not always do this effect. It's still cool to be able to like send the level 3 back into the deck to try to get the possibly get the standby to proc off of the effect. But it's all good. If not, you run it mainly for the second effect. Is when your climax is placed on your climax area, you can return this card to your hand. So you can have a full field, and if this is in your back row, you can play the standby, bounce this back to your hand, and you have an open slot for the standby to summon something, which is really cool. If you do choose one of your characters, it gets 1,000 power, and the effect of when it attacks, you can look at 2 cards on top of your deck, choose one amongst them, put it on top of the deck, and put the other into your waiting room. So just more like top check filtering and just being able to open up a space with your standby and get these kinds of effects off. This is just really good. I feel every standby deck should have something with this effect of being able to bounce back to hand when this standby gets played. So 2 copies of that. I got 2 different brainstormers in here. The first one is Quintessential Quintuplets Nino. When your other character's battle opponent becomes reversed, you can choose a Quints and give it 500 power till end of turn. Pretty cool. And a brainstorm of pay 1, rest, discard, mill 4. For each climax, salvage a character from the waiting room. So this is a tap itself, and this other one is a spammable one. I feel that spammable brainstormers are very useful in standby builds. This still has a tap effect, don't get me wrong, but you can pay the brainstorm as much as you want. So first off, an act, rest this card, choose a Quints, it gets 1,500 power till end of turn. That is significant. Let's just right off the bat. The brainstormer is pay 1 stock, and you can just do this as many times as you need if you need to get like a standby target out of your stock. So it's really powerful. For each climax revealed, perform the following action, which is salvage a character and discard 1 card. So really cool. But being able to keep your stock clean and keep your targets out of your stock is a big thing. And I discovered that with an SAO standby deck. I should have a deck profile for that on the channel. So if you want to check that out, go for it. Next, we have 1 copy of Head Start on Gifting Nino. It's a 002K. When this is placed on stage from hand, you can look at the top card of your deck and either put it on top or put it on the bottom of your deck. When this card is placed on stage from hand, pay 1, pitch 1. If you do, salvage back a Quintuplets character from your waiting room, and then you can choose one of your other Quintuplet characters, and it gets 1,000 power till end of turn. So just the neat little drop salvager. Pretty cool. This is the card that I run over the really fucking expensive double rare Nino. There's a double rare Nino that at one point was going for like $18. I think it's down to like $10 a pop now. But I just did not want to run this, so I grabbed this from the trial deck. So results may vary for this, but this was my replacement for it. If your hand, it's a 0015. If your hand has 5 or more cards, it gets extra 2k, so she becomes a 35. At the beginning of your encore step, if you don't have any other rested characters on your center stage, you can pay 1 stock to rest her. She could possibly stay around a couple extra turns, but it's whatever. But I mostly ran this to avoid having to dish out the money for the expensive ass double rare. 4 copies of this. It is from the trial deck, like I said, just stating, throwing that out there. 2 copies of Na Yukata Nino. If you have another character with Nino, this gets 1,500 power. So it's basically always going to be 25 as long as you have another character on field. When this is put into your waiting room from your stage, you can discard a card. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, choose a Nino amongst them, add it to your hand, and put the rest into your waiting room. So once again, the entire deck is mono Nino. It's really cool to be able to take advantage of the cards that have like all your characters are Nino. Discard a Nino card or whatever. Like, it just is constantly a thing. I wanted to keep it mono Nino for cards like this. Ends up being really cool. And obviously, 4 copies of Straightforward Feelings and 4 copies of Unstoppable Feelings. So, and that is my version of the deck. Like I said, the reason this is also budget, once again, as of the recording of this, February 3rd, 2023, This Nino is down to like $6. Yeah. This level 2 had gone up, but this is down to like $1 and some change. The only other one that was like a little bit of pricey was this double rare Nino Brainstormer, was about $2 a pop. Everything else in here is dirt cheap in terms of like, even this one that I feel like is part of the whole restricted list and everything. Even before the ban list update, this was not expensive. This is still not expensive now, but it wasn't before either. So everything else in here is pretty cheap. I'm not certain how much this trial deck card is, but you could put something in here to replace this. It doesn't matter. Because of okay, this is $6 a pop. We're going to do some math. That is a minimum of 24, so about $25, tax, shipping, whatever the fuck. So $25 for your main thing, and the reason the 8 standby variant is really, really strong. This is one of the main cards because of that. But this level 2 is also the other main thing. It is like $1 and some change. If you were to price out this entire deck, this is like $50 or less. Guaranteed as of right now. It may go up in the future, and if it does, just keep an eye out for prices. Like the main 2 that you need to look for, obviously, is this and the level 2. Everything else is kind of whatever. Like you have some key cards like this level 0 that's really good. These your level 1 targets that are really good. This one's from the first set, I think. I can't remember if this is from first or second set. It might be the second set. Don't hold me to that. Regardless of whichever set it's from, like it's like really good for a reason. It's an uncommon. Prices may vary right now, but as of right now, because of like it didn't really hit, the ban list didn't really hit this too hard as of right now, I still say this can be very strong. The Ichika version is a little bit more pricey because of the early play level 3 Ichika. You don't need to run that. You can just run this. This is really freaking strong. If you want to be able to run something that is pretty meta competitive for a very good price without having to like break the bank, this could be it. It really could be about $40, but I'm saying $50 just for like shipping cost and whatnot if it takes a little bit. But for the most part, this is very budget. Like $50 is like, the price of 2 Trial Deck Pluses anyway. Go for it. But anyway, that is going to be it. Thank y'all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. If not, hey, thanks for stopping by to check it out. And we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.